first I want to talk to you about those comments from Orlando. Bravo, do you think that he has a point here? Just the technical details of some of these valuations when it comes to these private companies. His point about having to generate $1 billion of free cash flow to basically, justify the valuation.
Yeah, I think he does have a point. I do think that, if we've seen in the last week, whatever OpenAI touches really turns to gold, right? So, and I don't think that some of it is justified, some of it is not justified. And I think it is very hard to kind of discern, what will tremendously grow in this space. I do think we're in Act 1 of AI. Think about it. This is early internet in 1997. And so it's going to take a while to see fruition of some of these AI companies. And I think this is what I think Mr. Bravo really discounts, is that we are really just starting. I think the first players at the moment are putting everything into infra, into chips, into everything that needs to kind of support the AI. But really what I'll be watching for is the application layers. And I think that's still yet to come. So I do think to some extent he's right. But on another hand, I do believe we're in Act 1 in AI. So this is just the beginning.
All right, so you're saying you believe at least partly in some of the things that he's saying right there. So another very notable tech, voice in mind was Michael Dell. He was on our air as well, saying that one day there's going to be too many data centers. He doesn't see it happening right now. So as we talk about these two different factors, the elevated valuations and the very rapid build out, how do we know when we're in the right place or when we get to too much, in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, look, it is very hard to predict at the moment, but I do think that given where we're going with AI and the demand for AI, the whole world is going to be run pretty much by a lot of AI. A lot of our tasks are going to be amended by AI. I don't believe that our jobs are going to disappear next year, as some have been claiming doomsdays, for the last couple of years. But I do think that, globally, the demand is there. And I'm not sure that I would be stopping any investments in terms of the data sets and everything around AI infrastructure. So I think it really is just starting. So I think it's a little too early to say, what is needed. Look, we are extremely US-centric here. 90% of the AI companies in the world are US, right? And they're going global. And I don't think we've even expanded completely. So I think we are just starting. As I said, it's an Act 1.
All right, so just an Act 1. Let's talk about cryptocurrency for a minute. Your company's trying to become an Ethereum treasury. Just want to let the audience know that. Just your views on cryptocurrency, the fact that we're seeing Bitcoin hit an all-time high. It's pulled back just a bit, but hit an all-time high during this time of uncertainty. Have we finally figured out the use case for Bitcoin? Is it a safe haven?
Look, Frank, I've been in the industry since 2010. So for me, Bitcoin has been a safe haven for a long time. Bitcoin has outperformed the market tremendously. And so Bitcoin is a digital gold that really payment currency and utility in terms of payments still hasn't been proven, at scale. However, though, Bitcoin has proven to be a digital gold. You've seen what has happened in the last week with government shutdown. Bitcoin was at all-time high. Gold, you talked about it earlier on your previous show. Gold has hit all-time high. I do believe that gold will hit probably 5K if government continues to shut down. And I think people are looking for safe havens. So I do think that Bitcoin really is going to continue to be that. I believe that Bitcoin is currently being held by central banks, and I think it's going to continue to be held by central banks. This is a future, right? This is something that digital and crypto asset community has been believing for the last 13 plus years, and I think this is there. Unfortunately, there's no stopping for that.
Okay. Maya, I actually want to go back to valuations for a minute. Something just crossed the wires. This is from the Bank of England's Financial Policy Committee. Number one, warning of a sharp correction in market if the mood sours on AI. And then also going on to say that equity valuations, they appear stretched, something we've heard from a lot of different people and investors, but they say especially for tech companies focused on AI. So sorry to bring you back to this point. I know that's where we started. But the fact that we're hearing another very notable voice, the Bank of England's Financial Policy Committee, saying this now, should investors just be a bit more cautious in your mind? Is this time to take some money off the table or at least reassess the valuations of the companies that are being invested in?
Yeah, it's a great point, Frank. I do think you should reevaluate the evaluations of the companies. But here's my take on this. AI is very broad, right? AI and machine learning has existed in industrials for a very long time, much earlier than, the word was actually really sexy to talk about. And so I do think that if you're an investor, you should be looking at companies that have a real use case, that have scale, that have a utility, that have impact, right? And that have infrastructure. And so if you have those 2, 3 things, I think I would be more excited about investing in AI. I would not be as cautious or as negative. But if
Maya,
you lack some of those, it's hard.
I don't mean to cut you off, but to your own point, you said it's early innings. So how do we know what the right valuation is in the early innings of what could be a technological revolution, or it could be a bubble, or obviously more than likely somewhere in between?
I think for me, one could say about 13 plus years ago that Bitcoin would never go anywhere. And I kind of stuck with it because I understood where things are going to be impacted. I believe the same thing about AI. I was impacted by AI while I was at GE, and I saw the implications of AI in industrials and coming into retail. And so I'm not sure that we are in a bubble at the moment. We're in a market bubble 100%. And I think that we are going to continue to have a little bit of a more runway before we come down. But I think in general, AI is here to stay. So I think some of the evaluations in AI are absolutely justifiable.